What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called The Doors of Trithius. This is one of those games that ever since the first time I played it and I started to get an inkling what this developer is trying to do with this open world RPG, I've been a massive fan. I still to this day think this game is criminally underrated. It doesn't seem to get the movers and the shakers that like Caves of Cud kind of got. But this is one of those games that, as of right now, it's really playable, it's really enjoyable, it's a fantastic take on open-world sandbox sort of RuneScape-y RPGs. And the developer is like working his way through his roadmap at like a breakneck pace. The guy's a hard worker. And so anyways, today we're going to take a look at Doors of Trithius. I've played it for about 20 or 30 hours on the save that I'm about to load. I decided to go back in and play it again because there's a big patch coming in the next couple weeks. It's probably going to wipe out saves. Usually patches wipe out saves with this game, but it's going to be adding a bunch of content. It's been a couple years since we covered the game the last time, so there's also been a ton of content added just inside of that window. The developer is incredibly consistent, so saddle up, join up with me. I'm going to play Doors of Trithius for about 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about what makes this game so great and why I like it compared to a lot of other open world RPGs. We're going to slay a Goblin King. I think we're going to have a good time with it, and over the course of the video, hopefully I can show you enough that you will become as hopeful about this game as I am. So link to the game is down below in the description. This game is in early access, as I mentioned. It's the creation of one guy, but he is really consistent with his updates, and he's really consistent with his patches. Seems like he's very organized, and he's got a roadmap that you can take a look at with little checkboxes that he's been filling in one by one. Seems like there's a ton of content still left to go, but let's check the game out, shall we? Alright, so here we are inside one of the villages in Doors of Trithius. This is my mercenary right here. I decided to play a mercenary this time around. Choosing your class in this game, important but also not important, and I'll kind of explain why that is. So when you pick a class in this game, every class in the game, except for a couple of them, has their own talent tree that sort of changes the way they play. They may also have extra mechanics that go into it. For example, the knight has a thing called oaths, where he can swear an oath to slay an enemy. If he slays the enemy, he gets an oath, and then he can spend it at like these statues that are hidden out in the wilderness to get a bunch of buffs and level ups and things of that nature. Most of the characters have like little mechanics like that in the way that they function. However, any character in this game can utilize any skill, so if you make a mistake and you don't like what you picked, womp womp, just like pick something else and farm up for that for a little while. Treat this like RuneScape, basically. It's a game that is meant to be farmed. But as of right now, I'm inside one of the little villages. The villages, they are on the overall world map that you can see right here. This is about as far as I've gone in like 20 or 30 hours of playing the game because I've been working on a lot of skills, a lot of trades and stuff like that. But our target for the day that will hopefully spur the conversation and sort of remind me of all the cool things that I like about this game is that you may notice there's a little blue box around this dungeon right here. We need to go slay the Goblin King, and I think approaching level 30, I'm about ready to do that. So let's head down that way, and then we'll get some dungeon crawling going, and we'll talk about all the different things that comprise this game. And actually, as I was power walking my way down here, because, you know, I like to power walk. I like to get my spine into it, get my elbows moving. It looks like there's a Lamassu over here that's just, like, rampaging and causing all kinds of problems. Don't pay attention to the level of monsters in this game. Because it's a sandbox game, you might be level 33, but that does not mean you can beat a level 33 monster. It kind of depends on where you put your skills and your stats and your weapon masteries. If you've been focusing on a lot of secondary stuff, your level 33 character might be a lot weaker than someone else's level 33 character. But the Grimjaw Stronghold, this is where we're going on in. So basically, one of the main storylines of this game is that there are goblins on the map. In general, goblins are mostly peaceful, but for whatever reason, goblins have started rampaging and like murdering people and doing all kinds of nasty, gnarly stuff. And it turns out there's some kind of like brain fungus disease thing that's infecting all the goblins, and the person propagating it is their current emperor to turn them into like warlike masses that want to wipe out humanity. So we're gonna get on into the game. This game is very, very heavily inspired by classic roguelikes. So if you do enjoy things like Cataclysm DDA, if you do enjoy things like Caves of Cud, I can promise you this is one of those games that's absolutely gonna scratch that itch. If you're looking to build up a character that's gonna have a unique unique adventure and lots of weird random things happen along the way. But for now, let's cleave our way through some goblins. As mentioned, my character is a mercenary. At the beginning of the game, you get to pick from probably 7 or 8 different classes. Most of them are pretty unique, actually. There's everything from like just a wanderer to a peasant that picked up a sword, to knights, to mercenaries, to druids, to hunters, to archers. There's a guy that his entire shtick is that he gets drunk and punches people in the face. That's his entire class detail, is just that he likes to be smashed and he likes to punch guys in the face. You'll take your pick from there, and every single character is going to let you start out with a couple of skills, but don't worry about any skills you might have missed out on. Every single character in this game can get every single skill in the game. It just takes a little bit of time, and in fact, I would hazard a guess that just about every person that plays this game is going to end up with every single skill at one point or another. Nothing in this little corner over here that's going to allow us to get rid of or acquire. Skills can encompass just about anything and everything, and in fact, I'll break open the skills list right now so that you can take a look. These are all of the skills that I have discovered and learned inside the game right now. Everything from enchanting your weapons to make them do cool stuff, so you can like enchant your chest piece if you want, and go on a sandbox crusade to get really good at enchanting so that you can put like plus 20 HP on your chest piece and like plus 10 energy on your pants. And enchanting becomes kind of important largely because your character never gets more HP or more energy through leveling up. That's just not a thing that happens in this game, which means that if you end up having like 140 or 150 in one of those stats, you've really like dedicated to it and you've tuned your gear in such a way that you've ended up in that position. I'm gonna go ahead and AoE slash them right there. These rogues can sometimes get some solid damage off, but frankly, my gear should blow this place out of the water. I've been kind of putting it off. Oh, there's a firewood infection inside here, so dungeons can have modifiers added on into them. And this is one of the new ones. They're called virelings, and it's basically a thing like, it's a tree that's kind of like the Thing. It takes over entire maps, and then all of a sudden there'll be like virelings everywhere. And you can kind of like harvest rare resources from them, but I think the entire vireling storyline isn't done yet in the early access. It just kind of gets to a point and terminates with the character being like, I think we've kicked the bee's nest enough. I don't want to work on this anymore. I will harvest all these mushrooms over here, though, because it's always a good time for you to level up your botany. Dreadheart is the skill tree that I get for being a mercenary. This skill tree was gained from my character's past in being a famous berserker, almost sort of like werewolf mercenary, basically. It has lots of life drain. It's got like an aura that I can do that makes me much more powerful in combat, like a berserker mode. Survival, that's going to be just a bunch of weird stuff around the margins, in all honesty. And yet, oh, I stepped on a trap. And yet, the cool thing about survival is you kind of want to take it. So like anytime you gather a berry or anytime you pick up any kind of resource out in the wilds like twigs, or you pick up berries, or you end up like foraging or anything else like that, or building a campfire, anything that comprises the basic surviving out in nature will give you survival XP. Survival XP just makes your character a lot more resilient. It's got a lot of things that allow you to get rid of bleeds, get rid of poisons, and basically those are a huge threat in the early game. So you definitely want to get that kind of stuff going. I've got botany, that's picking flowers so that you can use them for alchemy, which is somewhere on the list over here too. Literacy, it is a skill in this game. You got to learn to read. You always start this game out illiterate. I think unless you're some kind of scholar or something like that, but I'd have to check and see which class from the class list starts out with literacy. I'm going to charge over here and smash that guy for 65 damage. Medicine, that's the making of bandages, poultices, antidotes, all that kind of stuff, splints. Because in this game, you can get various wounds that persist, and they basically last forever until you deal with them. Some skills like survival will give you the ability to shrug off a bleed, or the ability to kind of like shrug off a poison. But at the beginning of the game, you are in the weakest state you will ever be because just about everything is permanent, lasts forever, and can absolutely kill you. And so you're going to want to stock up on medicines. It's a good skill to have. Alchemy, the brewing of potions. Magic is kind of a rare thing in this universe, so having the ability to make lots and lots of potions that can give you buffs and get rid of debuffs and heal your character and give you like doubled up attack speed, because like a lot of other, I suppose like a lot of other roguelikes out there, this game functions on a 100 time unit turn basically for every character. So if you drink a potion that makes you get 50 extra time units per turn, that means every other turn you get to double attack or you get to double move, which can be very, very helpful. These guys right here are wearing thorned armor. That thorned armor is going to reflect a little bit of damage at me every time I smack them, but I think we should be okay. These meat sacks over here, sometimes they have raw meat inside of them, which I can use for my cooking skill, but I've also got chivalry. Chivalry is one of the game's hidden skills, so there are obvious skills that will just kind of come up over the course of you playing the game by finding a workbench that you don't recognize, and then when you touch the workbench, you learn about that skill, and then the next time you level up, you can apply one of your free skill points that you can put into a skill you already have, or you can use it to acquire a new skill. Chivalry is one of the hidden skills in the game. You've got to go out and find it, and it basically gives you access to the same skill tree that the Knight class has from the beginning of the game. But the Chivalry tree is all about standing your ground. It's all about being a stationary bulwark that nothing can move, that has basically enormous defensive bonuses and offensive bonuses and everything else. Yeah, this Fire Ward is kind of taking over the dungeon right now. We need to be very, very careful not to hit any of the Firewort things. Firewort is not hostile by default. It only becomes hostile if you smack it or interact with it in a number of ways that it doesn't like, and so we'll just leave it alone for right now. Maybe the goblins will go to war with it if we get lucky. You've got cooking, exactly what it says on the tin, and since one of the principal ways to heal in this game is eating food in large amounts, having a well-developed cooking skill I think is going to be something that just about every character has. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to fight this ogre because my helmet right now is made out of an ogre skull, and I need ogre bones in order to be able to fix it because all of your gear in this game has like durability. Durability is not that difficult for you to repair as long as you've got access to the quarter mastery skill. It'll allow you to fix your stuff as you go whenever you find a workbench. But I need to have constituent parts in order for that to function, and so constituent parts it is. I'm missing hotbars right now. There we go. Now I've got all my hotbars with all my abilities. So with this ogre, what we need to do is we need to smack him up. He's going to try to smack us up as well, but hopefully we can make this thing happen. So I'm going to go into battle trance right now because that's my berserker mode. I'm also going to go into blade rush, which is a chivalry skill. It's going to allow me to get an extra 15 attack speed, which should allow me to get some double and triple turns on this guy. I'm wielding two-handed maces at the moment. They have a chance to cripple the enemy, and they also have a chance to stun the enemy. I've also specialized in stunning, which means that when I stun enemies, they stay stunned for a really, really, really long time. I've also got a bunch of other abilities I can play around with here. I've got Knight's Challenge. That's the thing I was talking about from the Knight class, where you challenge someone to an honorable duel, and if you kill them in the next 5 turns, you get a resource that you can spend on like free XP, free skill points, extra money, things of that nature. I've got a healing spell in here from the nature tree. I've been trying desperately to level up my healing skill. That's been my big focus lately. Oh, am I out of energy? Or am I... Oh, I'm crippled. Okay, so he must have broken one of my bones when he smacked me. Let's finish off this little gremlin cook over here. But I can't use any of my mobility skills while I'm crippled, and also my attack speed is minimized. So I'm going to press the M key to bring up my medicaments, and then I'm just going to put a splint on it. That way I no longer have myself all nice and crippled on out, so that I can actually use my movement skills. But there's tons and tons and tons of skills in this game. The developer recently added the ability to expand out these hotbars to just absolutely enormous grids, and I think that was a really good decision because there's a lot of skills in this game that you're going to have on your hotbar. Did we find the stairs to go down? That's really the goal that we're trying to play around with right now, is we're trying to find the stairs to go down, because the Goblin King should be on, like, the lowest level of the dungeon. This is a cooking station right here. I can use it to cook up some of my meat and potatoes real quick while we're in the neighborhood. You can never have enough healing items. We've got another Goblin Rogue down here. I am going to charge in on this guy with this dude right here. I don't actually know what I want to do with him. I'm actually going to put some bushes over there with my nature magic. I can put thorny bushes all over the place, and if anything walks through the thorny bushes, they take 4 damage. We have these guys in the backfield, and so I'm kind of fine with just letting him melt. Like, these guys can be kind of annoying to chase around the map. But that's fine. We got a little bit of wood off of him, too. If you don't get wood from killing goblins, then, like, I don't know, man. We're just on completely different wavelengths, aren't we? The stairs were all the way down at the bottom, so we're going to want to head down to the south end of the map. But we are a little bit hungry right now. I'll eat a cabbage and a carrot real quick. Nope, do not step on a trap on the way over there. The auto-pathing in this game, even though you know about a trap's location, it will still auto-walk you across traps. It's one of those little changes that I hope they change around pretty soon, that if you're like aware of a trap, you can't step on it while auto-pathing. But, you know, hasn't happened yet. Down to the next floor. Let's see what kind of goodies we got around here that we can play around with. Other skills that you get, Warrapped. Warrapped is kind of a generalized combat skill. So this is basically for anybody that does melee. Everything's in there, from cleaves to charges to gap closers to AoEs. Athletics, it's going to basically deal with everything that has to do with your mobility. It'll allow you to jump super far like that right there in order to like get away from the enemy a little bit. Very, very roguelike-y. You get sprints that increase your movement speed by 25, which means like you move pretty fast compared to everybody else for escaping from bad situations. I don't think we're going to need to escape from any bad Really, dude? You crippled me, huh? Right after I just healed off my cripplage, you crippled me again. Do I have enough wood to make splints? All right, so I don't know. So for a splint, we need a workbench. There was one on the previous floor that I can go back to. I know I done seen it. There it is, up in the corner over here. Let's go grab that real fast. And then I need to craft up a bunch of splints. So there's 3 splints. I don't know how low I am on bandages. Bandages look okay. I could probably get some antidotes going real fast as well. If I have the stuff on me, this is part of the quarter mastery skill. I can basically like salvage all this stuff right here and get quarter mastery XP. That's a magic sword. I don't want to get rid of that. That's a rare named weapon that drops off of certain guys. And then from there I could fix my battle hammer. So there we go, battle hammer's been repaired. I can fix my helmet real fast with the bones we just got from the ogre. I can fix my greaves. Let's just fix everything while we're here. I think the scale halberd, though, it needs me to have infernal steel, which I don't have access to just yet. On top of that, quarter mastering allows you to bolster your gear too, thus making it have way more durability, like more defense, stuff like that, so that it's kind of like Jimmy Rig reinforced, I suppose, so that you're not constantly getting stuck repairing stuff. All right, our boo-boo freshly taken care of. Let's get down here into the dungeon and see if we can find this guy around. So this thing right here is a resurrector. It can actually kind of be a problem. So we want to get rid of the wizards first because they put like an AoE on the ground that amplifies the damage that you take basically from all sources. And then this thing right here can resurrect gremlins, which is kind of a pain in the ass. You really don't want that to happen. Being outnumbered in this game is one of those things that can really backfire on you. You kind of want to keep it to 1v1s until you're really confident about your skills and your build. This right here is a death arena. I could pull that lever and it would force a bunch of like goblin slaves to fight each other, but I feel guilty about it. Let's just leave them in the cave for right now. They can enjoy a precious few moments of existence that they otherwise would not have gotten. I will take the Whisper Amulet. It sells decent when we get back to town. Let me bust this guy up. I've got a number of abilities that debuff the enemy's attack power, so I'm hoping that I can keep those going in between throwing random heals on myself, too. I don't have my hotkeys set up on this computer, so the Steam Cloud will save my save, but it doesn't have... I have all of these re-hotkeyed and everything on my living room computer when I was playing, and so if you're wondering why I'm like slow clicking everything, it's because my hotkeys are all messed up right now and I just charged straight forward and started recording the video out of pure enthusiasm. It happens from time to time. Number of little gremlin thieves down here. I'm gonna kill those off first. They don't attack or anything, but they do steal your loot and run off with it. And while I don't think anything hugely consequential is gonna drop inside this dungeon for us, something might drop. Oh, he clunked me. Okay, 12 gold right there. I'll take that. I'm saving up for a house right now because you can buy a house in this game. Leveling up in this game, I guess we didn't really talk about that. It doesn't function like a Bethesda game. It doesn't function really like any other game that I've played. And that's because the developer sort of explained his rationale. He's a big one for like blogs and things. Like, he really likes explaining his rationale for like why he does what he does, which I appreciate. Like, sometimes it's not immediately obvious to the end user gamer exactly why a mechanic or a thing is designed the way that it is. But in the case of leveling up, you see this little meter right here? This little meter is going to go up no matter what you do in the game. If I kill an enemy, it's going to go up. If I pick a flower, it's going to go up. If I do crafting, it's going to go up. And that's because the developer, he sort of explains this idea of RPGs having different types of builds. They've got wide builds, and they've got tall builds. So like a wide build is a player that goes through your sandbox and puts skills in everything because they want to try everything out. That's what they're excited about, is they want to taste everything that the game has to offer. They want to try out all the different skill categories and trees and things of that nature before they decide on anything that they're going to heavily dedicate to. Whereas tall builds... we gotta get away from this dude. This dude messed us up pretty badly. I'm going to eat a meat pie, and then I'm also gonna drink a Mutter's milk so that I can be like the man they call Jane. And hopefully that brings my HP back in a satisfying way. It did indeed. I crafted all those mud milks for exactly this reason. But as I was saying, he was saying there's two different players that enter his sandbox from what he's seen so far. There's wide players, which I already explained, and then he said there's tall players. Those are the min-maxers. Those are the people that max out a tree before they move on to the next tree. And he said that this level up system, to his eye, balances those two ideas, because the wide player is getting extra XP for doing everything so that they don't fall behind and get too weak, and then the tall player is getting that extra combat efficiency and fighting a lot more, so he's getting the XP from there. It sort of evens the situation out for everybody that's playing the game, and I do think that the system works well from what I've seen so far. There's just something satisfying about a game that no matter what you're doing, if I decide to take an hour and go out into the wilderness and just harvest plants and practice my survivalism, I like the fact that my character is not wasting his time doing that. Like, sure, with regards to the amount of stuff that I've picked up, you know, I can craft some potions or whatever that'll make me more prepared for the next dungeon, but in this game, I'm also getting XP while I do that stuff, and like, I can take those level ups and put them into combat skills while I'm naturally leveling up my other skills through repetition and use. I like it. I think it's a very, very elegant system, and it had me kind of scratching my head wondering why other RPGs have never tried to do that. It's a very, very keen observation. We still haven't found our stairs down, unfortunately. I would like to find the stairs down. Let me see if I can track them down. There's the stairs, dude. They were dead center in the middle. We cleared out legitimately the rest of the entire map. Goblin King, are you in here? Yeah, there's his decay aura right there. I had to get an enchantment for one of my armors. I put it on my helmet. So as part of the storyline, you have to have a specific enchantment. Otherwise, he just melts you with how evil he is. That's some next level evilness right there, where it just like radiates through the air. We want to step pretty carefully into this room. Oh my god. There's that big mamma jamma right there. Okay, so what do I want to do here before he gets to me? We're definitely going to want to set ourselves up for success. So I'm going to put down some bushes right there so that he takes damage when he walks through them. I'm going to blast him with a hex right there. I'm going to let my energy come back for a second. He just tried to smash the hell out of me. I'm going to drink a draft of haste so that I'm faster and getting extra turns that he's not getting. And then I need to close the gap so that I can hit him. Yeah, hit him from right there. There you go. Get him with a little bit of something, something. He's preparing another smash. Woo, barely got out of the way of that one. Let's charge back in. We missed our swing, but we did get a stun right there, which is good. We're actually... Oh my god, he evolved. Okay, so now that he's evolved, we take a look at our energy, figure out what we got going on here. I'm going to go Blade Rush so that I attack faster. I'm going to Knight's Challenge him so that he deals less damage. I'm going to smash his toe. Well, I can't. I have to hit the top left-hand thing. Let's get rid of some of his accompaniment, though, over here. Took a big hit right there. I'm going to heal myself. Yeah, we're starting to feel it now, and down he goes, just dropping his big yellow ball on the ground. You ever get your ass kicked so hard that your ball is laying on the ground afterwards? That's some pretty solid ass kicking right there, dude. That's like getting hit so hard your, like, shoes come untied. It's like, ooh. There's no, like, you should see the other guy in that fight. Like, you get hit so hard your shoes come untied, it's over. Now let's get rid of the rest of these little wormies around here so that I can loot in peace. It looks like he detonated all of his minions, and boy did he have a lot of minions in here. That's why I was super careful to kite him back towards the gate, is because I didn't want to aggro his entire retinue when I came in here. I've got about 60 hours in this game, And I've learned some hard roguelike lessons from it. Now, this game is not a roguelike, it's an RPG. You can save whenever you want to in this title. Oh, good, we leveled up as well. Hell yeah, so that'll be good. I can show you guys how the level up process works to give you a little bit more context to what it is that I'm doing here inside of the game. Let me snag all my loot. And then obviously we gotta touch the big-ass orb. As you approach the decay orb, you realize that this one is much larger than the others. From the grave, the Goblin King right now is like, you're damn right it is. An overwhelming sense of power emanates from it. It pulses with the might of Dudal's control and the potential it holds. In your hands, this power could become a tool or a burden. Your intuition tells you that there are two paths before you. Can I perceive its essence? You reach out to sense the orb and a flood of images and feelings rush through your mind. It's offering you immense power, but also deep-rooted corruption. Well, I took an oath of chivalry when I got the knight skill tree, so I will do the right thing. I will destroy the orb. As you prepare to destroy it, a sense of calm determination wanders over you. However, you're aware that this path will forfeit the orb's immense power. Do it. You take a deep breath and destroy the orb. A wave of relief washes over as you feel the corruption in the air dissipate. I did the right thing. I did the right thing. That's what I was supposed to do. That's what a hero does right there. Usually there's a treasure room inside the final boss's chamber. I wanted to show you a treasure room. It's got giant lootable piles of gold that disappear when you loot them. Like, you can actually, this isn't one of those games where you walk into a room that's made out of treasure and you can't take any of it except for the preordained piles. In this game, you can actually take the giant treasure piles. It's great. When we're done with the dungeon, we can hit the B key because we kind of need to get out of here. And we need to go back to the overworld. We need to sell off some of our hard-earned stuff that we got from this dungeon crawl. One thing that you need to understand is every single tile on this map is explorable. Literally every single one of them. So, if you would like to explore, you can. And in fact, that's a pivotal thing that I think a lot of new players miss with this game, is that they enter the game and they instantly start taking quests and going off on those quests. And some of those quests are going to be really hard for like a level 3 to 5 character. So instead, spend some time exploring the overworld, getting stronger, and working on some of your skills. It's a really good idea to do that. On top of that, exploring the open world is a great way to get yourself all the resources that you're gonna need in order to, I'm gonna put some booshes right there so that he gets ate up by booshes, but now I'm gonna get ate up by my own booshes. Unfortunate. I'm gonna come over here, smash that guy, and then we got a scorpion claw right there, candelabra right there. We're almost overweight. What you saw right there was a map attack. Sometimes you get attacked while you're moving across the map, but this is a full map tile. Like, we could go wherever we want on this map tile. You can see harvestables right here. Were I to go out this direction, you can pick the wood up off the ground and use that for crafting. These are all alchemy reagents right here. The monsters that you run into, they will also drop things that are for alchemy, and they will drop things that are for crafting that will come up eventually once you get to like mid-level, upper-level crafting. Really, really good idea to pick it on up. Plus, it's the only way for you to really level up your botany, your survival, and all that kind of stuff. Hunting chickens in the early game, a great way to get yourself a big stack of meat. That way you can make yourself a ton of healing food and just have it ready to rock when you actually go on a formalized adventure. Press the B key whenever you want to get out of a map tile. That's an enemy army right there. Enemy armies, so this game is dynamic. It doesn't stay static. So what I mean by that is every enemy lair, so you've got temples, you've got goblin lairs, every single one of these that's active, that is to say not gray like they are right now, will occasionally spit out an army, and that army will just wander around. And as the army wanders around, it may wander onto one of these tiles that's actually a friendly civilization that you've been doing business with, like the Cragstone Farm. You see how it says prosperity right there? Prosperity is a cross-section of how much you've been protecting that tile from being invaded. They get a huge prosperity debuff whenever they get robbed by an army on the map. And then from there, if you do quests for these guys, or you spend time basically enriching them, their prosperity will go up, and these tiles actually develop and become more successful. So a perfect example here would be the town of Nurton. When I started my game, Nurton had a prosperity of 11, and inside the town there was a bunch of boarded up buildings. It was basically a slum that had a butcher shop and an inn, and every other building was boarded up and inaccessible. Now, at prosperity 60, the city is considered like a thriving trade hub, because as you can see, I wiped out all the layers around it so that nothing nothing was invading it anymore. And then whenever I see an attack heading towards Nurten, I've been treating it, since they were the ones that rescued my character at the beginning of the game, I've been treating them as like a life debt basically in my RP journey, where my character cares. He has a sentimental attachment to Nurten. Everything he's doing right now is to protect Nurten. And so they've become incredibly successful, and now there's 8 or 9 shops inside the town. The amount of money that the vendors have is way, way, way higher. And so the world sort of like casually evolves around you based on the behaviors that you engage in inside the confines of the game. And that, once again, is a really, really cool thing that makes the world feel very alive. Like, I know this game is not visually stimulating. Like, it's not a game that looks utterly gorgeous. Like, I think the tile set is really, really nice because I come from a world where I play things that are in ASCII. But this tile set to me looks really, really nice, but compared to like modern games, you know what I mean? Like, if you take a look at titles, you know, like the new Stalker or whatever, this game is not going to be particularly gorgeous compared to like the latest Unreal Engine game. They're attacking my farm right now. That's unacceptable. It's time for me to start one-shotting some monsters with AoEs. There we go. Perfect. They're losing the battle. I don't know where the rest of the gremlins are at, but I'll always take a little bit more loot. Sure, why not? Throw that into my bag. Perfect. And then we got a couple more down here. Let's finish them off. But this game definitely feels lived in, almost, because like your actions have an effect on the way that the game is going to look going on in. On top of that, like you just saw, the storylines. So the game is going to have like 5 or 6 main quest lines. Right now, there's, I think, like 2 or 3 out of the 5 main quest lines that are like halfway done as of right now before you run out of content. I think they're adding a new one though in the patch that's coming up. Like, I think one of the main storyline quests goes from chapter 1 to chapter 2, and then I think from what I read, that's going to be the beginning of them adding the cultist storylines and whatnot too to the game. But I'd have to recheck the roadmap real quick before I could say it with any finality. I'm gonna. Oh, it's locked up because of the battle. That's what it is. If I turn back around and then I come back in here, it's popping all my tutorials up because I played a lot more on my other computer than this one. I can just sleep in anybody's bed. That's the nice thing about this game, is if there's an open bed, you can just sleep in it. So whenever you level up, you fill up your XP meter, you get 1 skill point, and you can put that skill point into any skill that you have already acquired, or you can use that 1 skill point to get a skill that you're aware of but have not learned yet. I've gotten pretty much all the skills as it stands right now. I think I'm only missing a couple that I've got to track down, and I think they're in other biomes as of right now. What I've been leveling up is I've been dumping a lot of my level up points into Dreadheart, because Dreadheart, it doesn't level up naturally very well. Like, Dreadheart's actually kind of hard to level up in the heat of the moment, and so I find that Dreadheart doesn't naturally generate very many levels, so I've been putting my points into it. But when you put a point into a skill, you also get a skill tree point for that, and we'll go into the skill tree in just a second. I think in this case, I'm going to put my skill point into Alchemy, and then we get to open up the Skills tab. So every single one of these skills has a skill tree. Not all the skill trees are done yet. Some of them are like placeholder skill trees, like this one right here where the icons haven't been updated. They haven't been like interconnected or anything else right now. That just means you can buy whatever you want. But it's a good idea every hour or so of gameplay to just start at the top of your list, go down to the bottom, and apply all your points. Like, for example, I've got 4 travel points, so I can put 2 points right here into this skill, which means that I have a higher chance of not getting attacked on the road, and then this one right here will allow me to travel faster on roads so that I'm not getting as much fatigue. Very, very helpful. For my athletics tree, I'm going to save my athletics because I wanted to get situational awareness to give me 5 more energy, because a lot of armor in this game deducts from your maximum energy, and so having that extra little 5 spot would be good. With Warrapped, we haven't leveled that. With cooking, I think everything up here costs multiple points, so that doesn't matter. Alchemy, everything's going to cost multiple points, so that doesn't matter either. I'm working my way right now towards the holy grail of being a master alchemist that can make this game's equivalent of an elixir from Final Fantasy. It gives you full health. And so having like 8 or 9 of these on me at all times would basically make it so I never die again. It would be really, really nice. And that's one of the fun things about sandbox games, is that they are meant to be broken, and they are meant to reward you for all the work that you put in, like all the hours you spent grinding. I'm going to pick all these carrots real quick. I failed to harvest a carrot. Man, I suck. Let's go back up to town, and we'll see what we can drop off over here in order to make ourselves a little bit of cash. You can buy a house in these towns. That's a new feature that was implemented since the last time we played. You can talk to the mayor. Like right now, I'm sitting on 5,000 gold. So, yeah, I'll pay you 5,000 gold to buy a house. Is this my house? This is my house. And so as you see, it starts out with like storage mediums inside of it, and then there are different vendors that will allow you to buy workbenches that you can place inside of here, and you can rotate them around so that you have like a central operating base that you're working out of. And so that was a lot of money. Let me go sell off my stuff real quick. You also get Masteries on top of that. I forgot to record the Masteries. I knew I had something on my list I was supposed to do, but Masteries are for your weapons. So your weapons are sorted into like blades, they're sorted into bludgeons, they're sorted into various categories, with the top category giving you a full skill tree, and no matter what weapon you use inside that category, it still levels this up as well. And then you've got another category right here for the specific weapon, which will give you much more focused attacks and around the things your weapons actually do. So maces, they tend to focus really heavily on stunning. Axes are all about like maiming the enemy. Flails are all about, they have a special mechanic where you gotta whirl it around your head a little bit, and the more you whirl it, like the more damage you do for one giant front-loaded hit. Every weapon has kind of like its own gimmick or thing going on that it's trying to play around with. Swords are all about bleeds. I think daggers are too. But that's the Masteries right there. Not as big of a haul from the dungeon as I thought I was gonna get. We only got about 1,000 gold out of the trip. A little bit of a bummer, but that's the way that it goes. That's a reading station right here. Books in this game, kind of an interesting little subclass. So if you read books in this game while you're cruising around the map, it just passively increases the amount of the book that you've read. And then every single book gives you one of 3 stats: world lore, mysticism, or philosophy. And the more of these that you have, you can buy basically knowledges that make you more effective at adventuring. So like right here, for 2 world lore and 2 mysticism, I can get more golden chests. For the same thing, I can have the main stairs in every single dungeon be automatically revealed to me so that I don't have to look around for them. This one right here is particularly useful because it would increase the amount of XP I get towards my orange bar by 25% whenever I craft anything. That's really, really good. That's nice to have. You'll find various services inside of the town, so the main one that you're probably going to be interacting with is the job board. The game doesn't have too many quest types on the job board, but it's on his work list right now on his roadmap that he wants to add more procedurally generated quests. This is where you're going to get both main storyline quests sometimes and also repeatable quests. So like quests that just procedurally generate when you come to town. Doing these can make the town more successful. It can raise your reputation because you do have reputations with different factions all over the world, and to be able to buy like their racial armors and stuff like that, you have to be able to have the right reputation. So like with the Verdant Guard right now, I can basically buy any of their stuff. I can buy houses in their city. I get a 30% discount on all purchases, all that kind of stuff. There's lots of different stores. The one that you want to look for is the one with the little fish hooks right there. It's a general store. It'll allow you to buy and sell basically anything, but other stores will only take the stuff that they produce. This hammer guy right here, he's got a Morning Star of Crippling. Might be nice. Although I've got my, I need him to repair my gear too. Can you repair my Lucerne? Thank you. I appreciate you. But there's a generic blacksmith over here. Lately, I've been buying all of their enchanted gear out of their inventory so that I can disenchant it, learn the enchantments, and then put them onto other gear that I actually want to wear. And the game is just positively full of like these little sandbox-inspired personal quests that you end up going on where you're like, okay, well, like, I want to have a full suit of enchanted gear, so how do I make that happen? And then for the next 15 hours, you'll be off, like, farming dungeons and finding materials and making your gear set more effective, all that kind of fun stuff. I do need to turn in that Goblin quest. I think it's done now. Actually, no, this is where the first storyline ends, and so I think this is the one that's getting a couple extra steps with the patch that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I think. Once again, I'd have to check it on the roadmap. Every single city will also have stalls in the middle. These are random vendors that have really, really good stuff. All they sell is the really good stuff. They're basically traveling merchants that go in between towns, doing the things that they're supposed to do, making money and stacking ducats. If you're looking for magic, you need to go into the Leafborn. The Leafborn are like a guild of druids that live away from society. You can learn nature magic there, but they've got a different currency from the rest of the world. They don't trade in gold. They trade in polished quartz. And so getting enough polished quartz to actually buy their stuff can be kind of a headache. I think there was a big gnarly dude down in the bottom of this dungeon, so I'm gonna go ahead and summarize my thoughts while I dive down. I left him, so the dungeon should be clear, but the guy at the bottom, I couldn't beat him. He was too tough. So when Doors of Trithius first released, I don't think anybody, including myself, could realize how motivated and on track the developer was going to be. As indie gamers, I think we are usually hit with a lot of early access fatigue, waiting for things to happen, waiting for content, and it sort of makes you jaded. I get 20 games a day, so believe me, I know, all right? Of all the people who know, I know. I get an email like every 5 minutes with a game inside of it, and so it all just kind of runs together at some point. But in rare cases, you get that standout magic. Cataclysm DDA, Tales of Maj'Eyal, RimWorld, Darkest Dungeon, the games that just absolutely knock it out of the park. And you think to yourself, damn, you could kind of like play this forever. For me, Doors of Trithius is rapidly becoming one of those games. It manages to combine the addictive leveling up of everything from a game like RuneScape and combine it with a world that feels dynamic enough to keep you interested over long play sessions. Like you can feel your own footprint inside the game world, and there's enough branch logic inside the quests that exist already that it's clear that the decisions you make going through the narrative are actually going to change things about outcomes. But I've put about 60 hours into Doors of Trithius just with the current amount of content. Which is a lot of time. And make no mistake, this is definitely an early access game. I don't want to oversell you there. You will run out of storyline in this game. You will run out of non-procedural things to do. For me, it was around the 25-hour mark. However, even with that stuff missing, I kept playing and making new characters because the core loop is so thoughtfully appointed. The skill trees are full of interesting options that are active, they're passive, the customization of the game with gear enchantments, bolstering, different gear tiers, different types of gear that are pure or hybrid versions of each other, whether you're focusing on armor or dodge or whether you're focusing on resistances. Things like enchantment become like a side quest unto themselves that'll self-motivate you to eat up like hours farming crystals and learning these things and farming up money so that you can buy enchanted gear from the stores and disenchant it so that you can put it on the things that you want. Getting that next alchemy level so that you can make that game changer potion you've had your eye on, or your next war aptitude level so that you can now close gaps with kiters with a charge. Everything in this game all kind of loops back into the core design of getting you out into the world, free roaming, gathering, exploring, questing, farming, and kind of like stacking up more skills. As it stands right now, this is a game which is very, very well made. And when you consider that the roadmap is only like 30% done, even with the developer putting out fat overhaul or content patches every 2 to 4 weeks, this seems like a game that's just going to be unbelievably awesome in a couple of years because it's already rad as hell right now. I'm definitely getting that Caves of Cud vibe from this one. Like, I remember thinking the same thing with Caves of Cud when I first played it years and years and years ago, like, damn, dude, this is going to turn into something special. I got that same vibe from Kenshi. Well, the vibe is here. The sandboxes that really stand out, this is now one of them for me, and I keep finding myself looping back to play it even in my free time every 6 months or so. So I'm gonna point a spotlight at this vicious, intelligent, elegant little RPG. Right now, the game's only real flaw that I've noticed is that it's not done, and I think that that's a very advantageous position to be in. The developer is attentive. He is routinely monitoring like Steam forums and things like that and implementing requests. It has all the magic dust right now. You know, it's got the sugar spice, everything nice. Now we just need it to get its chemical X, which is the game reaching 1.0. And dude, I think that Doors of Trithius is really, really gonna be an enormous banger because it's already great right now. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, Doors of Trithius. Tomorrow it'll be something else. Thanks for hanging out, and that's all I got for you, folks. Bye.